no matter how busy I am or what I have going on or this and that and the other, I've got to get up and go to it every morning, even if it's only just for 30 minutes, just to keep the tool sharp. And when you have a story going, anything you can put into it really snowballs that story forward and helps propel it forward. I'd love to have 3 or 4 hours a day to sit and work. Well, I say that. I don't know if I would or not. I think it's been part of my success or energy or whatever you want to call it, or motivation, that I sit down and I work really hard in the spurts that I can get. And I think some of that propulsion probably comes out in the writing.
Where does the initial idea come from? Where's the spark that you say, oh, I want to write a book about this?
When I get done with something, I don't necessarily sit down and start trying to think, okay, well, what do I want to do next? I really just kind of let go, and just in the course of living and being and watching and observing, something will hit me. I mean, with Blackwood, I had kind of a landscape first. For some reason, and I guess it's because of what I see in North Mississippi, or really anywhere in Mississippi all the time, but I think especially up here in the hill country, I just seen the kudzu and just how it is just taking over everything. And I just had this image in my mind of like this huge kudzu-covered valley and maybe a little town that sits on the edge of it. And, you know, when I was a kid, we used to go up under the vines, and I just started to imagine almost like a ghost story or a ghost tale of what might be going on underneath this valley of vines.
Kudzu sounds like it is an actual character in the book.
It is absolutely a character, and I think that was one of the very interesting things for me in writing about it, is I felt it come alive. And the characters, too, they feel it, too. I think the notion of its incremental growth and how patient it is and how over time it just chokes out everything. I think you feel that in the story, and I think it certainly is part of what's going on with the characters and their lives and the parallels to kind of what they're feeling on the edge of this valley.
Well, give us an idea of that. Tell us about the characters and how the kudzu, well, it's actual, but it's also, in a sense, metaphorical in this book.
Yeah, absolutely. It is metaphorical. I mean, there's a host of characters, really, but I guess the main couple or three is Colburn, who has something very bad and memorable happen to his father and with his family, and him and his mother left, but it picks up 20 years later when he's coming back, and he's curious. He's almost like a morbid celebrity in this town, in that, I mean, we all know how little towns are. Stories tend to be told over and over and over again, and the story of his family is one that everybody in the town knows. So when he shows back up, they already kind of know who he is, and he's already kind of strange to them. So you've got this very strange physical world and this creeping physical world, and then Colburn shows back up, and it kind of disrupts, you know, kind of that everyday, everything's the same type feeling in this little town.
Blackwood has been described as Southern Gothic. Is that how you would refer to it?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's Southern Gothic among other things, too, but I certainly think it's very influenced by those influences of mine who really live in the Southern Gothic realm, like William Gay and Cormac McCarthy's earlier novels especially. I think Ballad of the Sad Cafe, Carson McCullers probably had a pretty good influence on this novel, too.
What is the genre, though? Is it a thriller? It's very dark. What genre would you say it's in?
See, I don't know. It's funny to me to see all the categories it ends up in. I've seen it in Southern Gothic. I've seen it in literary thriller. I think it will get some horror-type reviews in within the horror genre. It's called a crime novel. But it's really weird because one of the earlier interviews I've done, also the interviewer said to me, you know, I've read all your work, and I feel like this is your most religious work. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. So I think those things show up in all of my work because of my background. I was, like, really taken by that. The only category I hope it falls into is great. You know, I can't do anything about anything after that. But I think those are some pretty good genres to be in.
What would you tell our listeners, or what do you want to leave them with about why they should get this book?
Oh, man. You won't forget it. I can promise you that.
Good enough. Michael Farris Smith is the author of Blackwood. Michael, thank you so much.
Absolutely, Karen. Thanks a lot.